Hey guys, it's Miss Kraut. We got some new homework. These are skills that we've been working on. So it's very important that you watch the videos every night this week. Otherwise, it might be a little difficult for you on the for the test on Friday. So just to let you know, we're converting to a decimal. Number one. I'm going to do number one, number 3, number 5, 7, and 9. I'm going to do all the odds. So you should not get any of these odd problems wrong, okay, because I'm doing them with you. All right, so number one, it says convert to a decimal, and we have 4/10, okay? So you can do this one in your head because how do you say 4/10? You say it like this, right? 4/10, right? So that's right. But if you want to know how to convert a decimal, you have 4/10, right? Okay, and remember the dog. The dog goes on the outside, and your dog's name is denominator, right? And then the 4 goes in the house. You cannot do 10 into 4, so you're going to add a decimal because at this time I have not changed the value. It's still 4, right? By adding a 0, as long as I have my decimal there, I haven't changed the value. So 10 goes into 40 4 times. So the answer is, and that's 4 times 10, that's 40, and it would be 0. So the answer is decimal 4. Okay, so for number one, it's decimal 4 or 4/10, right? Okay, for number 3, we're just comparing, right? So we're comparing the fractions. So I have 1/7. I need to move this right here. Get out of the way. There you go. Okay, I have 1/7 and I'm comparing it with 2/7. Remember, this is when you're going to do the butterfly. That's 14. That's 7. And you always point to the smallest number. So therefore, I'm pointing that way. So for number 3, 1/7 is less than, right? All right, number 5. This one is where some things we've been doing that might be a little bit more difficult for you. So what we're doing is we're just going to subtract. So I have 10 and 1/10, and I'm subtracting 3 and 2/10. And the first thing you need to do, very, very first thing you do, is you're looking at the denominators. If the denominators are the same, then you're not going to need to find a least common denominator. So in this case, the denominators are the same, but I can't do 1 minus 2. So I'm going to have to go borrow from the 10. When I borrow, I'm really not taking anything. So I'm going to change this to a 9, but I don't want to change the value of that 10. So what I'm doing is I'm just adding 1 over here. So I'm going to take this 9 and I need to add 1 over here in a fraction form. I'm going to use this denominator, so I know my denominator is going to be this, and it's going to be 10 over 10 because that's 1. So really, it's almost like changing it from a $1 bill to 4 quarters. It's still a dollar, it's just a different form. So this becomes a 9, and this you're adding 10 over 10. So now I'm going to do 1 plus 10 is 11, and it still keeps the same denominator. And then I like to just bring this down over here, right? And then I put a circle here. That way it reminds me I need to go back and do my whole number. So 11 over 2, or 11 minus 2 is 9, and then I have 10. And normally what you would do is you would put this in the ladder to see if it reduces, but you don't need to do that because 9 and 10 are right next to each other on the number line, so it tells you that they cannot be reduced. And then you have 9 minus 3 is 6. So the answer for number 5 is 6. No, number 5. I'm on the wrong line. Is going to be 6 and 9/10. I'm going to erase that a little bit right there. And the secret word of the day is banana. Banana. Okay, so number 7, we're also subtracting. So now we have, let me move this up. We have 8 and 2/8 minus 4 and 3/8. First thing you're going to do is look at that denominator. If the denominators are the same, then you do not have to find a least common denominator. Then I look, can I subtract 2 minus 3? No. Okay, so I'm going to borrow from the 7, and I'm changing it. I'm taking 1, and I'm going to put it over here. So I look at my denominator, and it's 8. So therefore, I'm going to add 8 over 8. And then that equals 10 over 8. And now I can subtract. I'm going to put a big circle here so I don't forget my whole number. So I have 10 minus 3/8. Okay, so 10 minus 3 is 7. And then I keep my denominator of 8. 7 minus 4 is 3. So and I cannot reduce this because these two numbers are right next to each other on the number line. Therefore, they will not reduce. So the answer for number 7 is 3 7/8. 3 7/8. All right, number 9 is about Hunter. Hunter bought a box of fruit that weighed 3 3/5 kilograms. If he bought a second box that weighed 2 1/2 kilograms, what is the combined weight of both boxes? The combined weight of both boxes. So if I'm combining them, then I'm going to add them together, right? So I have 3 3/5, and I'm adding 2 1/2. Right? So this is what we're working on right here. First thing I do, just like when I was talking about the subtraction problem, first thing I need to do is find a least common denominator. Therefore, I'm going to make the ladder, and in the ladder, I'm going to put 5 and 2. And then I'm going to try to figure out, okay, is there a number that will go into both 5 and 2? No, there's not. If there's not a number that both of them will go into, you just times them together. Okay, so we have 10. 10 is our least common denominator. And then remember in class, we've been talking about, okay, the next step is asking yourself, how did I get from 2 to 10? And that's times 5. And then whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, and then on this one, I say how did I get from 5 to 10? And that's multiply by 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I have 3 times 2 is 6. So now I can add them. I have 6 plus 5 is 11 over 10. And then I have my whole number, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but here's the thing. It says answer as a mixed number. This is a mixed number. But this right here is an improper fraction. So if you put this on your paper, it's going to be counted wrong because the directions say answer is a mixed number, and this you have an improper fraction. So do you remember how to change this? So remember my dog denominator goes outside, and the 11 is going to go in the house. So 10 goes into 11 one time. And then 1 times 10 is 10. And then I have 1 left over. So I have 1 1/10. So now this is no longer 11/10. I've gotten rid of that. It is 1 1/10. Okay? If you're not sure what I just did there, rewind this and go back and look at it again, okay? Because this is a problem that I've been seeing on your review that you guys haven't been getting right. Some of you, not all of you. So now all I have to do is just add them. 5 plus 1 is 6, and then I just have 1/10. Okay? So the answer is 6 1/10. That would be the combined weight. All right, guys. The next one is pretty much the same thing. It says answer is a mixed number. So remember, if you get that where the numerator is bigger than the denominator, you have to do it this way and then add it back to your number. And I'm pretty sure that number 10 is going to do that. All right, guys, have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.